Hello and welcome to another episode of the Chrissie Mayr podcast. We are on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And if you're listening to us on iTunes right now, please leave a 5-star review. I'm doing a lot of stand-up the next month or so. This Saturday, December 11th, I will be with the comedians of the Compound at Tiff's in Morris Plains, New Jersey. That's the dojo of comedy out there in Morris Plains, doing 2 shows on Saturday. And then I'm heading to Hartford, Connecticut to headline the Hartford Funny Bone December 12th. December 13th, I'll be headlining the Little Rock Looney Bin there in Arkansas, and then heading back to Texas December 15th and 16th to do Hyenas in Dallas with Anthony Cumia and Aaron Berg. Then I'm recording an album, my very first album, comedy special album, whatever we want to call it. That's going to be on Thursday, January 6th. Yes, January 6th at Governor's in Levittown, making January 6th funny again. I think it's going to be good. And got a few more dates here and there, but those are the ones I want to focus on. Go to chrissymayr.com for tickets, or you can go to the individual club websites for details. I got a bunch of shirts. I got a bunch of shirts on TeePublic. Just in time for Christmas, guys. It's have yourself a Mayr Christmas. I mean, it doesn't get better than this. This is great. Comes in red, green, even normal colors too. But if you're feeling a little bit more like patriotic, maybe you get Make America Great Again. Pretty cool. Check out those shirts. Also, I've got a hot sauce. This has been a long time coming, this collaboration with myself and Silk City Hot Sauce. Nightmare. Woo! It's very good. It's got pear, jalapenos, super hot. It's a verde sauce, very good on eggs. And you can go to levinskystopshelf.com. Use the promo code CMP to get a few dollars. I mean, it's $10 and you will get a few dollars off if you use the code CMP. So check that out. Let me know what I taste like. Let me know how it tastes to you. All right, guys. I'm very excited. Back from a long weekend at Exotica in DC, even though it's not DC, it's in Chantilly, Virginia. But so I'm so excited to be back doing pods, and I'm very excited to have this guest join me today. He is the founder and owner of Geeks and Gamers, of Sports Wars. You've seen him on Friday Night Tights. Jeremy Griggs, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. It's been a long time. We've been trying to get this set up, so I'm happy to be here and I'm ready to talk. And thank you for making January 6th great again. That was a great announcement. Inciting erections or insurrections. I can't even, whatever the Democrats are saying these days. But good to be here.
Also, oh man, I would love a January 6th themed porn, like with erections, like insurrection. I don't know. I'm imagining a red, white, and blue boner or something.
Yeah, these people, man, they are nuts. Apparently, you're responsible for it. I saw somebody tweeting that a few weeks ago.
I am personally responsible for it. Yeah, it was the perfect opportunity for all my haters, and my haters are still tagging the FBI on my tweets. They're like, FBI, come get your girl. And I've yet to see them at a show so far. So I'm hoping they come out for the album recording. That's my hope.
People. I love it.
Maybe I'll have a table specially set aside for feds or anybody from any kind of government organization. That would be great.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I missed you guys on Friday Night Tights. This past Friday, I was in Exotica in DC, which is an adult film star convention, and so I'm seeing a lot of boobs, a lot of nudity. It was a good time, but I missed you guys.
That's if you just start talking about video games, you're really going to upset the rhinos, those conservatives that can't they can accept their shitty politicians in their own party, but they can't accept boobs. Oh my God, in video games,
not accept
so terrible.
Boobs. Yeah, people get upset when especially if I understand, because I have fans that became fans through this podcast, and maybe they're like, oh, we really loved your interview with Sebastian Gorka, and then they see me like holding a titty and they don't know what to make of me. They're like, oh, you thought you were conservative. Wow, I don't know what box to put you in. We're so mad. And then I have people on the adult film star side who they see that I do a podcast, and I talk to people that are not leftists, and they go, oh, you're a raging Republican, you're a conservative. Yeah. So I've definitely received hate from either side.
Well, the best, and this is how I apply it too, because this is saying it's been around for a long time now. But the more enemies that you encounter, it means that you're going the right way. That's what video games have taught us. So if you're encountering enemies, you're going the right way. That's it. As
Oh.
simple as that. And if people aren't bitching about you or complaining about you, then you're probably not going the right way. So that's how I look at it. Complaining about me, and obviously these are people that you may have interacted with and things. But at the end of the day, you got to move forward. You can't worry about, like, people are going to get pissed off, especially in 2021. They're going to get mad. But if you're moving in that right direction and you're hearing a lot of resistance to that, you're going the right way. That's how I look at it.
I didn't know that about video games. Like, the more bad guys that are coming at you, that
means you're going in the right direction. So,
oh, right.
yeah.
Because if you're going backwards,
Right.
the other, to the start of the game, they're going to be like, no, you were already here.
Yeah,
Why would we fight the
exactly.
bad guys?
Yeah. Yeah, so the more the more enemies you encounter, it means you're going the right way, and that's video games have taught us, and I think that applies to life as well. Because with Geeks and Gamers, I mean, I remember when I didn't have much of a following, and no one was bitching about me then. No one was making hate video games then, and now that I have a following, suddenly everybody has an opinion, and that means I'm doing something right. So that's kind of how I look at it.
How did you start Geeks and Gamers? Did you start around 2016? If I'm not correct?
No, actually, I started it in 2011. But it's evolved. It's evolved a lot from the early stages. And I've talked about this a few times. So back in 2011, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops, those were like the big games. And we played a lot of online games back then. And I've always been a gamer and, enjoyed playing arcade games back in the day. You talk shit to your friends, everybody's, cheering and reacting to things. And when the online craze started happening, I felt like that was like, man, I'm having fun. This is cool, but I want to play some of these console games in person. So why don't we start doing tournaments like in person and let's set this up. And I just had an idea. I had no money. I had nothing. I had no resources, had one video game system, but I had this grand idea. Long story short, I started floating that idea out there just locally to my friends in Alabama where I lived. And people started coming to me saying, hey, I heard about this idea that you wanted to start a video game tournament. Hey, I got a system you can borrow. I got a TV you can borrow if that'll help. And it just kind of started snowballing. And I had more help than I could imagine because people believed in the idea. And so we set a date and I rented out an old Sam's Club building. And we had like 100 people show up. I couldn't believe it. And it didn't run very well because just learning, because at that time you had to link the systems together and they all had to be updated to the same, update. And if they weren't updated to the same update, they couldn't talk to each other. But bottom line is we had a huge turnout and people loved it. Even for all of our mistakes, people were like, we love what you're trying to do here. We're going to continue to support it. And so that kind of was the first kind of phase of video game tournaments. And so I did a few more, some good, some bad, but about halfway through that process is where I created the name Geeks and Gamers and created the logo, created some t-shirts. Cause I was like, well, if people are going to show up to the tournaments, let's get some branding behind it. My brand, which is a big meme for me now, but, so let's get some t-shirts and let's, sell some t-shirts and kind of let everybody know what we have. And so I did about 6 tournaments that first year. They were really successful, but it burned me out. It was just something that was more stress than anything because I was borrowing so much equipment and I really wasn't making a profit because I wasn't trying to. So I did those tournaments and then I just kind of phased out of it and, went back to doing my day job and trying to figure out what I want to do. Years later, I decided to create a website and a Facebook group. And that's kind of where it started getting a little traction. This was back in 2014, probably. Created a Facebook group, got about 20,000 followers in there. And I created the website and people would come in my Facebook group and they would write like a review of a movie they saw. They're like, oh, I saw this movie and here's my review. And I'm just looking at it going, okay, instead of them putting this in the Facebook group for Geeks and Gamers, why don't I bring that guy on to write that review for my website? And then it's we're doing reviews, and that kind of happened. And then some people on my team came to me and they wanted to create a YouTube channel. And I was like, I'm not a YouTuber. I'm never going to get in front of the camera. I'm behind the scenes type of guy. I'm not really somebody who should be in front of the camera. So we created a YouTube channel. The YouTube channel was there for about 2 years, literally did nothing. I mean, it in 2 years, it gained 800 subs. No one was watching it. And right before The Last Jedi came out, You know, and this was after, this is after Trump became president. Now, I voted for Trump, and I was a very proud supporter of him, but I never talked about it publicly
Oh.
because of how people act up
Did you wear
towards that. So,
camouflage shorts? Did you have an American flag? Did you have other spells?
oh yeah, I mean, you could tell I'm a hillbilly from Alabama, so it's pretty obvious. So yeah, so around that time, I was frustrated that Geeks and Gamers really hasn't really done anything. Like, we were kind of just treading water. And I looked at the political landscape and everything going on, and I saw what was going on, but I wasn't I wasn't vocal about it, even though I felt strongly about it. And so late 2015 or late 2016, I made the decision that I was going to start being vocal about where I stand on politics, and I'm not going to shy away from being a Trump supporter. Luckily, that's when The Last Jedi came out too. And
Oh, wow.
that's where Geeks and Gamers kind of went from just a relatively unknown thing in a lot of circles to where we kind of took off. So that's kind of the phase of how Geeks and Gamers evolved into where it's at now. Now I'm a right-wing Yahtzee who, you know, hates black people and women, apparently. So
Yeah, apparently I am too. Then look at this site, and it's like now it's exploded to movie reviews, video game. I guess, yeah, you have reviews on here too.
Yeah.
Television, anime, comics, theme parks.
You love them theme parks. I know you love them theme parks.
And is Drunk 3PO your official theme park
Yes.
reviewer?
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
he is. Yes, he is.
Yeah, I just don't like theme park. I don't understand why adults go to Disney World. I think that's like a sign of a mental illness. I feel like if you're going back every year, you're avoiding something in your adult life. Like I don't know. Maybe
well, see, here's the beauty. This is the beauty of Geeks and Gamers, is there's always someone that you're going to connect with. So while Drunk 3PO loves the theme parks, Ryan would 100% agree with your take on theme parks.
Okay.
So, Ryan would be like, yeah, I agree, Chrissy. These people are losers.
And if you guys watch Friday Night Tights, you know who Ryan Kinel is. But for those of you who don't, can you describe how you brought Ryan on, or what was kind of the order of, you know, who you brought on and when and for what reason?
Yeah, the process of everyone that we have is I operate on gut instinct, generally speaking. I don't have a lot of structure to how I operate. I just operate with my gut. That is a thing that will put you in a lot of good positions and a lot of bad positions. I have learned that the hard way. But ultimately, I live and die by that. I run with my gut, and it's been generally right a lot of times for me. And so the people I bring them on for different reasons. One thing I don't like when people are mega fans of me to bring them onto the team, because
Really?
because
like
it's just
a little bashful about that. You're a little bit like, oh, I'm nothing special.
I just it's weird because if you're a mega fan of me, and it's not to say I haven't brought people on that were fans of mine, but generally that's more so like I want someone that's there for, you know, the Geeks and Gamers aspect, because one thing I've always struggled with is I never wanted Geeks and Gamers to be the Jeremy show. I wanted it to be about Geeks and Gamers, and you know, I've become the face of it, and the most powerful voice and the most prominent voice, and that's what has been great about people like Ryan and Drunk 3PO and Krista Nova and so many others, is like they have elevated, you know, and kind of carved out their own personalities now that rival mine, which is all what I've always wanted. And so with Ryan in particular, you know, I met Ryan at a fan meetup in San Diego a few years ago. Me and Gary were there, and Ryan showed up. He was a lot more respectful and nice then than he is now. But immediately when I met Ryan, it was obvious that he knew what he was talking about, and he was very much plugged into a lot of different information in the geek world, the sports world, whatever. And he just was very intelligent and well-spoken. And something about him just stood out to me and Gary. Separately, me and Gary talked to him at the meetup and said, you should start a YouTube channel because you just have what it takes. And I didn't know Gary told him that. Gary didn't know I told him that. But I gave Ryan my phone number at that meetup, and I said, dude, if you start a YouTube channel, you hit me up because I'll put you on Geeks and Gamers. And when I brought Ryan in, my God, man, so many people got mad because he was no one knew who he was. And everyone was like, what about me? I should be Geeks and Gamers, not this guy, this unknown. He doesn't even have a YouTube channel.
One of the first ones you brought on.
Well, he was one of the more it was just more so just he had no following, because like he had no YouTube channel. And so when he came in, it was like, who is this guy and where did he come from? He's not even running in our world. And So he got a lot of hate in the beginning, a lot of hate. And now look at him. He's closing in on 100,000 subscribers on his personal channel. He's the reason Sports Wars has over 100,000 subscribers.
Wow.
And he's my main man. He's awesome. And, Jay is another one that when I saw Drunk 3PO, I was just like, Drunk 3PO. That is a fantastic persona. Like, who would not want to hear what Drunk 3PO has to say? And, I remember,
like, oh my.
Exactly. Like, anybody's going to call himself Drunk 3PO. And the way he'll try to talk to any good looking woman on Twitter. Like, it doesn't matter if she's like trashing us. He's like, hey, what's up? He's just a smooth operator. Yeah, he really is.
He charmed me.
Yeah.
I did not. And I was like, you're mentally ill. Why you hanging out at Disney World? And he's like, hey there. And I'm like, oh, hi.
Yeah. Jay is great. And, just seeing what him and that personality and everything, that was really something that I thought would be beneficial to what we do. Krista Nova's one that no one knew who she was. She showed up out of nowhere. And I had my concerns at first. I'm like, oh, another pretty girl into Star Wars. Here we go. But it turned out that like Krista's just as genuine of a human being as you'll ever meet. And she's brings a whole different personality to Geeks and Gamers, and we just have a crazy group of people that we all kind of come together and create something cool. We got Uche out there just screaming all the left-wing nonsense on Twitter. And I'm like, God, Uche, what are you doing, bro? But that's what we are. We are a group of individuals. That's what Geeks and Gamers is a group of individuals. They can have whatever opinion they want. They can share that opinion. Obviously, we have our own opinions, but we also have a bigger goal in mind. Is just to make this thing as big as possible. And it's been a pleasure to be part of it.
When you say you were tentative on bringing Krista Nova in because had you been burned by like a female?
Not necessarily. It was just more so like you kind of, there are a lot of fake geek girls out there. There just are, and you see a lot of people that they'll try to capitalize off of a trendy thing, the Twitch thoughts and all of that. And so Krista was there, and yeah, at first it was just like, who is this girl?
Like,
what's she all about?
One of these laying around. You need to put in the time. No, I really just thought that the portion was so cute.
Yeah, and like so bringing Krista into the fold, like I saw her, it was her third video she ever made on her channel, and it was I think it's titled like a little chat about me. And if you go back and watch that on her channel, she just talks about growing up and being picked on for being into video games and all this stuff. And
that's your proof.
And it was a genuine, like it was a heartfelt video. And I messaged her after that and said, hey, I just watched this video and it's absolutely amazing. And she couldn't believe I was messaging her, and I'm like, I'm not a big deal. I'm just a me. And so, yeah, we got to talking, and I was like, I really think you could benefit what we're doing. And yeah, Krista's like the reason our Twitch channels have taken off. We're partnered on Twitch now. And that's because of her bringing her creative, mindset into things and just taking us in a new direction. That's what everybody does here at Geeks and Gamers. And it's awesome to be part of it. It really is.
Do you get, it seems like everybody on your team is kind of like-minded, open-minded, independent, like a free thinker, but I wonder, have you ever gotten like backlash from anybody on your team or from any of the fans or subscribers? Like, hey, you are making something, or they perceive that you're making something political that should just be focused on a movie review, or do you feel like you get confused or misunderstood as making things like more political than they should be?
Now, from team standpoint or from follower standpoint?
Both.
So, I mean, there's obviously, now everybody on my team, I have an open door policy. Anyone can call me at any point in time privately and just be like, I don't like this, I don't like that, or you need to explain this to me, or why are you taking that approach, or why are you coming at it from that opinion? Anybody on the team has that ability to pick up the phone and talk to me and share their concerns. And yeah, I mean, there's times where we've had things that I've had to step in, whether it be on the website or the YouTube channel. And I'm like, that one probably won't land well. And here's why. And then the person that I'm having that talk with either has the ability to challenge my take or then accept it or whatever. And that same policy goes for me. So yeah, we do have those discussions. And I think that opens up for a more comfortable work environment behind the scenes when people know they can, if they have a concern, they can come to me. Doesn't mean I'm going to always just go, oh, I'm sorry, I'll delete it or I won't upload it, but I'll at least hear you out. And I'll give you that opportunity to speak your mind every single time. And Siobhan's one that's, she's our community manager, and she's a very proud lesbian, LGBT, not a fan of Trump. She's been with me for 6-7 years.
How diverse of you. Look at
Oh
that.
yeah. Hey, we are very much just like Justin Trudeau. We are big fans of the LGBTQ blah, 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 blah. He couldn't even say it, but yeah. So Siobhan's been with me for a long time, long before Geeks and Gamers really blew up. And there's been times where she would come to me. She's like, "Hey, what is this? And what, can you think about that or whatever?" And then I'll respond. Now, as far as followers go, I mean, I've very rarely have I had anything that really blew back on me big time. Obviously, the Zack Snyder thing blew up in my face when I brought Zack Snyder on to, the charity live stream. And that was just an unfortunate thing. I don't regret it. We tried to do something. We accomplished our goal of raising over $100,000, and we had a Hollywood guy that wanted to tell us to go fuck ourselves. And
can you explain that a little bit for people who are not in the know about all that drama?
Yeah, so I mean, basically, we right before the Snyder Cut came out, opportunity presented itself for us to bring Zack Snyder on for a live stream and do a charity event to raise money.
What, like 2020? When was it?
God, I can't even remember. It was in 2021, I think. Early 2021, I believe.
What a long year this has been.
yeah. And so I'm not an idiot. I'm very much aware of what Geeks and Gamers means to different people in different circles. And so when this whole thing kind of presented itself, I told Zack point blank, you need to know who I am and what you're doing, because it ain't going to go over well. Zack seems to believe that, oh, I'm Zack Snyder. I've dealt with criticism, whatever your little YouTube channel. Okay, bro. And, clearly he was not ready for the onslaught of hate that he was going to get by being connected to Geeks and Gamers. Ultimately, it was moved over to Uche's channel, who was the direct contact. And there was some mistakes along the way. Zack's the one who publicly linked himself to Geeks and Gamers first, not me. He's the one who went on a live stream and told everyone he was working with Geeks and Gamers, not me. And so that kind of put us in a reaction kind of standpoint of like, fuck. So I called him, like, shouldn't have done that. And so ultimately he came on the stream. We'd raised like $100,000 or like $70,000 up to that point. He came on the stream and he basically made some ridiculously dumb comment about there's no room for hate and no room for Asian hate, and we're not affiliated with Geeks and Gamers and all this shit. And it just was a disaster. Yeah.
Maybe trying to undo what he had said before, but it just came out sounding shittier.
Yeah. He just, if you watch Zack Snyder, he's not really a good public speaker at all. He's just, he kind of all over the place, much like his fucking shitty movies. And so it just was the whole thing kind of just blew up on us in terms of a public perception. And but that's what you get, that was a risk I was willing to take, because ultimately it wasn't about Zack Snyder, and I've talked about this. This was about a fan movement. I'm not a fan of the Snyder Cut. I never was a fan of Snyder's movies, but the Snyder Cut happened because of a fan movement, and we were trying to celebrate a fan movement. And so that was our goal behind it. And ultimately we're proud of what we accomplished. But it's Hollywood people are going to be Hollywood people. That's just how it is.
Yeah, as long as I've known you, you've been very respectful of fans and the power that fans have. So it makes sense why you would have him on and have that be the focus. It sounds like maybe a little bit of his ego maybe got in the way. I don't know. It
was Warner Brothers executives got in the way. So that's really what it came down to.
Yeah. And it's interesting because like we talk about this a lot on Friday Night Tights. It's like we can't help but bring up politics when we talk about culture, or we talk about the movies that we've loved through the years, or like the movies that are so deep in our nostalgia, but they're brought back and they're made more modern or more woke. And it's like sometimes it's like, yeah, I would love to not have to talk about politics, but politics is like reaching so deeply into my life and culture and the things you love. So it's hard to avoid it.
Well, it is. I mean, we at Geeks and Gamers didn't bring politics into entertainment. Hollywood decided to do that. And as I said, for me as a very proud Trump voter in 2016 and in 2020, and I will be again in 2024.
You really think he's running?
His ego will not allow him not to. It's Donald Trump. This man will not allow his ego not to let him. And I'm saying that in a positive. Like, I love Trump's ego. And man's got an ego the size of Texas. I mean, that's who he is. And so I absolutely believe he's going to run in 2024. But yeah, like for me, as someone who was a proud Trump voter, I wasn't vocal about my politics. But I'll never forget, like, leading up to the point where I was like, where I decided to speak out against it. I kept seeing social media activists where they would see, oh, there's a rumor that the person that runs this company, not like my company, I'm saying in general, they would say this, like, there's a rumor that they voted for Trump. I can't support them. So I'm like, okay, if you're going to weaponize politics, if you're going to weaponize a political opinion, I'll just get out ahead of it. And I'll just whip my dick out on the table and we can talk about it right then and there, because I'm not going to let you weaponize it. So boom, I'm a Trump supporter. What the fuck are you going to do about it? Because once you start fearing that bullshit from them, then they've won. So you just have to get out ahead of it and go, yeah, voted for Trump. Fuck you.
And it's
just
nothing
like
to
you
be
can tell
ashamed
me,
of. Yeah,
absolutely not. Just like it's nothing to be ashamed of if you're not a Trump voter. That's fine. Quit worrying about it. I don't give a fuck if you like Trump or not. It doesn't affect my day. What affects my day is when you literally let that be your entire existence. And I'm going to laugh at you at that point. Because if your entire existence is just to complain about Trump 24/7 on social media, I'm going to laugh at you and make videos about you. But if you just genuinely don't like the man for whatever reason, that's fine. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't know Chrissie's like politics per se. I don't know 50% of the people on my team's politics per se. I may have an idea of which way they lean, but I don't know the intricate details of their political opinions, because it don't matter. It just doesn't matter. And that's what we have to get back to.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember a little bit. There was a time where I definitely came out like that I voted for Trump, and not that no other comedians in New York were coming out, but it truly felt like coming out about it, because there was this shame around it, especially in like the New York City or LA comedy community, which used to be like those were like the pinnacle spots to do comedy, and now everything's been kind of like blown wide open. You can really have a career anywhere. You don't, you can live in like a flyover state, which is really like the majority of the country. But I started getting a lot of hate too, kind of as soon as I started doing a show on Compound Media, which was perceived to be like very right wing. And it's because I had gone from hosting a show at the Stonewall Inn, which is a gay bar, and people just box to put me in. And I was like, no, I'm still the same person. The same things make me laugh. I still love and accept all of the same people. It's just that people like love to categorize you, and the hate I got was like, I don't know, almost kind of like overnight weird. And then after January 6th, people messaging my Facebook friends, like there was this whole effort to get people to unfriend me on Facebook after the 6th. And I just was like, what? How do you people not have lives like that? And these aren't people I even know. And it always, and I see the people on Twitter coming out, and it's always somebody I took an improv class with like 14 years ago. That's always like, you've changed. And I'm like, I haven't thought about you since 2009.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
the fuck?
Exactly.
And I was noticing you did. Oh, I want to go to a couple super chats before they scroll away from me. From the Craig Lee Lawrence experience. Much love to Chrissie and kudos, Jeremy. Thanks, Craig Lee. Let's see.
Appreciate that.
Steve Farumpa. How did Solo do at the box office?
Solo lost money.
Oh,
Raylos
no.
are weird. Let's go, Brandon, and we'll talk to you later. That's my outro right there. So it's just this thing where you just continue to make fun of Disney for everything. And so Solo lost money just kind of became a hashtag, a meme that we created to make fun of the fact that it lost money. And we've continued to just roast them for that. So anytime I don't say it, they get mad at me though. And they're like, you didn't do the outro. So
now they're like, do the thing, say the thing. Now it seems like they've been losing money on just about everything this year. Even Encanto, which I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, I mean, I know Odin did a box office breakdown on Geeks and Gamers about that. And yeah, I mean, Spider-Man's going to make up a lot of public perception for them, because Spider-Man's going to make absolute insane money. Luckily, Disney's only going to get a small percentage of that because it goes to Sony. But it's going to make so much money that's going to really make up for a lot of their losses from a public perception standpoint. Because I think it could make $1.5 billion, potentially $2
Wow.
billion. I mean, that movie is going to be insane. So we'll see how it all plays out for him.
Do you think Toby and Andrew Garfield will be in it?
Yeah, I do. I don't think they're going to be in it much, but we'll see. I mean, I'm a big fan of Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I think he's the GOAT. I think he's the greatest Spider-Man of all time, and I that's why I'm looking forward to it. I really didn't like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, and Tom Holland's is okay, but it's the world he's in is what I don't like. But I'm excited to have Tobey come back, even if it's for a little while. See, is
How
the
much
best ever.
Of Toby being the GOAT is basic, because you look at Tobey Maguire, it's like, I know he did the whole like Molly's Game, he was like a poker player or whatever, blackjack, he was in this like underground gambling scene, whatever. But when I look at Tobey Maguire, I'm like, oh, he looks like a loser who was awkward around girls. And then you look at like Andrew Garfield, and then like Tom Holland looks a little bit awkward too. But like for me, like it comes down to like, I don't know, kind of like how handsome you are. Maybe this is me being a girl, but does that help? Does like how awkward you look help with the perception?
Yes, I mean, because for me, Andrew Garfield was way too cool looking to be Peter Parker. He's
Great
way too
hair,
cool. Yeah,
no
way too
problems.
cool. Way too cool. And it took me out of it because I'm like, that guy would have chicks all over him in school. That guy
He's
would be the
homecoming
cool
king.
guy.
Yeah.
Like Toby is very awkward. That would be the guy you would pick on in school. And so just, from that standpoint, it didn't sell at all. So that was one of my big issues with it for sure.
Okay, cool. From Matthew Hammond, are the Japanese going to keep the video game market from going totally woke, or will the U.S. I guess developers and market force them to embrace it?
Yeah, I mean, the video game market is interesting right now because it's split off. I mean, Nintendo still pretty much keeps the wokeness away from things for the most part. They still, like any company, they have their virtue signaling moments, but they're not near as bad as a lot of them. So the video game market is right now, it's still a very interesting one because of Nintendo having their stronghold on a lot of things like they have for so long. But you have games like Call of Duty that have fully like embraced this wokeness nonsense. And I mean, I'm still enjoying Call of Duty Vanguard, but it is a little stupid to have like all of these women on the front lines of these battles, and going back to Battlefield 5 where they put women on the front lines of World War II. And I even know there's some virtue signaling nonsense with the Halo Infinite, which the campaign just dropped today, which I am downloading. So the multiplayer is really good for that, but everything, it's all connected, whether it's the comics industry, the video game industry, the movie industry, all of this, well, even sports. But at some point, the power is in the people's hands. And so like the NFL, for instance, has completely abandoned their woke nonsense completely, except for like they'll have like something painted in the end zone, like, oh, end racism or some shit like that. But they've moved away from all the kneeling bullshit, from all of the Black Lives Matter stuff.
Wow.
They talked about that they were going to do the Black National Anthem this year, and they never did it.
Oh, and then I made a joke. I'm like, oh, what would the Black National Anthem be? Just sirens? And then I got shit for that.
That's good. That's good. But yeah, they've pretty much moved away from it, and that's because they recognize that they were killing their business model. The NBA has not learned this yet. The NBA is still trying. Now, the NBA has backed off a lot, but point is these companies are there to make money. Essentially, that's it. And when their money starts drying up, you see how much they care about these things. Trust me, they don't care about them.
Yeah. When it stops being it's like the bottom line is always going to be more important than what is trendy.
Yep.
Very cool. Okay, from Matthew Hammond again. Why are millennials such bad storytellers?
Because they don't have to work for it. They're handed stuff based off of their politics and their identity politics per se. So it's like, we're at a time where I talked about with Geeks and Gamers, like, I feel good that it's good for me that it took me so long to kind of get to the point where I'm at, because, I worked most of my life in the retail industry, grocery stores. I was in management, and, that'll teach you about dealing with people. My God.
Yeah. I don't know how you did it. I was a waitress. I lasted like a few months. I would be like sobbing. I'd be like, they only cook the salmon one way.
Yeah. It's awful. Yeah. It's awful. So me working all of those years, real job, and then, kind of failing a lot with Geeks and Gamers to get it to where it is. I think that made me appreciate where I'm at, and it makes me, more motivated, and it's built me for where I'm at now. Whereas I see a lot of these like 22-year-old TikTokers or Twitch people or YouTubers, they have like 15 million subs, and they talk about how they need a break because it's too stressful. It's too stressful for me to
What
have
did
my
you do?
Lamborghinis and all that,
You
and
twerked for a half
yeah,
hour.
it's pathetic, and so a lot of these companies are just doing handouts to people that line up with their narrative. Like, oh, you believe that Donald Trump is the worst person ever, and that police officers are killing black people at record rates. Here, you can write the next Marvel movie. It's like,
Oof.
but they didn't. They don't have any experience. They don't, but it doesn't matter. They just get handed shit without working for it. So that translates into a lot of unqualified people in positions that they have not earned themselves to be in.
Yeah, we see that a lot in comedy too, for sure. From Jesus Davila, just wanted to say, love what you do, Chrissy. Keep up the great work. And hail, Geeks and Gamers. Jeremy is an awesome guy.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Appreciate that.
Appreciate you. Let's go to another video. No.
Video.
No.
I look back on my early ones. I'm like, God, those were so cringe when I used to do
Really?
that.
Do you have a hard time
man.
listening to yourself?
Yes, I really do. I'm
You're
like,
so
God,
humble.
it was terrible. I was like, why
you
do
were
people watch this?
originally like a behind the scenes guy.
Yeah, I mean, I just, I never wanted it. I've never wanted to be the center of attention per se. But at the end of the day, you got to go with what works. And a smart businessman goes with what works. And I tried to do it the other way, to try to be like, all right, I'm not the guy on camera, and that failed miserably. So here we are.
So here we are from Southeastern Kaiju. Ooh, Simp Coin. Thank you. Yeah, I started doing a simp cast where I have an all lady podcast and we talk about our simping. But then we also simp on Henry Cavill. We simp on other people and things. So it's not just people get upset and very triggered by the word simp.
People, yeah, I mean, at this point, like, people are offended by so many things these days. It's like the term grifter. People get called grifters, and I'm like, that has turned into where it's nothing more than that person is more successful than me, so therefore I'm gonna call him a grifter.
I've been called a grifter. You've been called a grifter. All the Friday Night Tights guys have been called grifters, and it's exactly that. It's like it just means you're jealous and you have some success.
Right. I mean, we've gotten to a point now. When I was growing up, if someone was called a racist or a sexist, it was a horrible thing to label someone. You're like, oh my God, that person's racist. Got to stay away from them. But now, if you get called a racist, it just means that person has an opinion that I don't like. That's all it means. It's so stupid.
It is so stupid. It's crazy. And I feel like there's so many overlaps with what you're saying, like with kind of like the gaming world or with like film and television. Like if you have the right opinion, then you are elevated more so. And that doesn't mean you don't also have the juice, but I find that happens a lot in comedy. Like they just announced the Netflix is a Joke comedy festival. I know you talked about this recently.
Yep.
It will John Mulaney, Pete Davidson, and more. This is going to be happening in Los Angeles from April 28th to May 8th. Canceled last year due to the pandemic. The perfect excuse. The festival's returning in full force. A lot of people are upset that Dave Chappelle is making an appearance, supposedly.
Yeah, Will Wheaton came out and cried like a little.
Who is Will Wheaton? I watched your video.
Yeah.
Who he is.
I'm not gonna say he cried like the like a little bitch. I'll say he cried like the little bitch that he is. So Will Wheaton is a Star Trek actor. He played Wesley on the Next Generation, and he's just a pathetic beta male. He sits when he pees. He's just pathetic. And he came out and he basically said Dave Chappelle is a bigot and a piece of shit. And he did what every left-wing activist does. He invents a fake story that probably never happened so that he can try and say, I once was a bad person too when I used the F slur, but now I have seen the error of my ways. Because he essentially created this story where he said he was radical. God, you're going to cringe when I say this. He basically was like saying that at a young age, he was radicalized by Eddie Murphy's comedy. because Eddie Murphy's
What?
comedy was like
He was
very like it was, you know, homophobic and
political?
F slurs
Come
and
on.
anti-gay,
He's
and so
being funny.
yeah, so then he was in the locker room with a bunch of guys after a game, and they were all talking about the game, and then he used the F slur, and they all went really quiet, and he learned that they were all gay, and at that moment, he realized, I'm the bigot, and I need to see the error away. This is the whole story he invented about why people should hate Dave Chappelle, and I'm like, leftists always do this shit. They always create a fucking story that did not happen just so they can take that fake story and virtue signal off of it. And that's what he did.
Yep.
But yeah, Will Wheaton blocked me on Twitter years ago. I don't know why. I'd never even interacted with him. He went after PewDiePie years ago, called him a Yahtzee and a horrible white supremacist and all this. And he's just a left-wing nut job. These people are pathetic.
They are nut jobs. Oh my god! Thank you so much for the super chat, Raging Patty. Two of my favorite YouTubers in the same MF room at the same MF time. Merry Christmas, one and all. Thanks, Raging Patty.
Raging Patty, thank you.
Raging
Appreciate
Patty
that.
coming through with the coins. That's a euro.
Grifting ain't easy.
Grifting is not easy, but we still try. And I'm looking at this lineup, and it's like I'm thinking about what you said. Like they just. You know,
well, see,
and
so
how do
what
I?
we'll,
It's like, how do I talk about this without sounding like, oh, I'm salty that I'm not on it?
what Will Wheaton has done is he's essentially called on every comic that's at this Netflix is a Joke festival to boycott it, to bail until Dave Chappelle has been fired or canceled off of it. So, and we know that's another leftist tactic where it's like, wait a minute, you talked to someone that I don't like, you're responsible unless you demonize them. This is a leftist tactic right here.
Right. You have to like, and of course, this is a huge festival. There's like over 100 comics on here. And I actually watched a video where they said that they're going to record many of these shows as stand-up specials for Netflix to then be played throughout the year, which is very smart because I'm thinking like, ugh, why are they having this huge festival in Los Angeles? Like everyone's trying to get the hell out of Los Angeles. Like, what are they gonna do? Like invite the homeless people from Tent City and Skid Row to come? I imagine like, are they gonna use them as seat fillers? They're just gonna be like shooting up and fucking bent over on heroin, like in the back seat of Gabriel Iglesias or something. And we have John Mulaney here. It's just funny. Like,
why is Chrissie Mayr not there? That's what I want to know. Why?
State approved. You know,
they hate women. They hate women. You got to pull the woman part on him at this point.
My favorite thing about John Mulaney is that he divorced his wife in May of this year, and then in September announced that Olivia Munn was pregnant, like several months pregnant with their first child. So he had to like hurry up and get divorced from his wife so that he could. Woof! I'm just like, I smell a little bit of an overlap there.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Oh boy. But yeah, so supposedly Chappelle's latest special was the most divisive special of all time. And I think it's bullshit. I think this is fake outrage. I think the people who are in power over at Netflix like love this because it's all this free publicity. It's all this like, you know, will they, won't they? Oh, what do they think of Chappelle? He's huge. He brings in way too much revenue and there's way too many viewers that he's an icon. He's a legend and he kind of can do no wrong. Like he's big enough now that Netflix needs him, I think, more than he needs Netflix because he has enough money to live. I mean, he made millions of dollars off his last bundle of specials that he did with them. So they're just sort of happy to have the peons fight over him. Is he transphobic? Is he not? While they just reel in the dough.
Well, I mean, it's just like he did exactly what you're supposed to do in these situations. You don't bend the knee. You don't apologize. You know, you don't let these activists have any impact on you whatsoever. As my good buddy Eric July Young Ripa says, monetize your haters. Just fucking, you know, just monetize them. And you can't let them people win. So yeah, he's done exactly what he's needed to do. He told them to go F themselves, and I'm loving it. I love what he's doing. And look, I mean, as I've said, and this is something I think we got to get away from, but I continue to kind of use it as a point to talk about why we shouldn't do it. But we got to get away from like, I don't agree with everything this person says. And it's like, well, nobody agrees with anything anyone says, but we always have to qualify that shit. So it's like, yeah, Chappelle's someone that clearly I probably have a lot of disagreements on with his worldview on shit. but it doesn't matter. Like, he battles against the narrative, and he has his own ideas and his own opinions, which is all I want people to have. I just don't want people to fall into that zombie-like mentality of being the NPCs. You can have whatever opinions you want. Just make sure it's not the mainstream talking points.
Exactly. And there's so many people who they heard someone else say that he's transphobic. So they're just going to take that and run with it. Oh, we're all saying he's transphobic instead of
Yep.
actually looking into it and see that he had a trans opener for, for I guess years. He had that girl opening for him. So it's just they want to be outraged. They want to be mad. And all the while, he is reeling in the dough.
Yes, he is.
We got, and also if we look at this lineup, no surprise. I mean, like, this is a ton of people.
There's a lot of people.
If you look through all these names, like, yes, it's very diverse looking, but not quite diverse in thought. This is very leftist, and it makes sense that they would get as many people as they can to come out for this festival, especially if they can record these, just get it all done, record everything during the festival, and then just release specials throughout the year. And again, it's like, yeah, who's even on this that's a little bit conservative or right-leaning? Maybe Theo Vaughn, but you don't see, like, a Jim Brewer. You don't see an Adam Carolla on here.
Nope. I'm looking at all these names. Patton Oswalt is there.
Of course. He's there to suck all the dicks.
I guess Jerry Seinfeld might be the only possible free thinker on there. Maybe
it's like Seinfeld. He's just somebody who, like, wants to keep his money. Like, that's the best we can do.
Yeah,
Polar and Tina Fey, I don't even think they do stand up. They're just names.
Yeah.
I mean, Conan, that's great. I mean, Ellen DeGeneres, like, what has she been up to? Well, like, they're what?
That's interesting right there. Yeah, shockingly, Adam Carolla not on there, which you would think he would be, but obviously he's working with the big bad Daily Wire now, so that's not allowed.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's so exciting. He has what's his show called? Something about yelling.
Truth Yeller.
Yep, that's great. Good for him. I just subscribed to the Daily Wire. They had like a 50% off sale, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. Yep. I'm going to sign up because I was like, I really got to support the people who supported Gina Carano right after all that shit happened. And it's like, I don't even know if they were thinking of doing films or her getting fired catalyzed them into wanting to make films. But either way, it's fucking awesome.
That's what I recently had Adam Carolla on Geeks and Gamers and did an interview with him. And I told him that, like, when they've hired Gina and brought her in, that's when I became an annual supporter of Daily Wire. Because historically, I'm not the biggest, like, the Daily Wire is more than Ben Shapiro, but Ben Shapiro is kind of the prominent
it's his
voice
baby.
there. Yeah. I'm not I respect the hell out of Shapiro. I have my issues with him, but it's never been somebody I watch consistently. But at that moment, when Daily Wire did that, and then you see the other moves that the Daily Wire's done, I'm very much loving everything they have going on and the people they're supporting and the opportunities they're giving. I think everybody needs to support the Daily Wire because that's what it's going to take, is creating brands and groups of people that aren't going to sit there and get canceled over opinions,
Oh yeah, and they just wrapped on shooting. I forget the name of the title of the movie, but it was what they were shooting in Montana.
Yeah,
for most
Terror
of
on the Prairie, I think.
Terror on the Prairie.
Yeah,
Nick Searcy was in there, who was a little bit blackballed by Hollywood. Tyler Fisher was in there, who, like, just in this year, like earlier this year, he and I were talking about, and he was telling me in a podcast, his managers were straight up telling him, like, sorry, you're a white guy. Sorry, there's just not going to be anything for you. And he just had to accept that, like, multiple agents of his telling him that. And he was genuinely concerned about if and when he would get any work. And he was booked on that gig from his Instagram. Like, I think one of the producer's wives saw his Instagram, and I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
It feels so good to see good people win, especially right out of feeling kind of hopeless about their life.
Well, that is, I mean, you find inspiration through different things and different places, different people. I mean, my goal, and it will happen, is to make Geeks and Gamers kind of the Barstool Sports of the geek world. I mean, I'm a big fan of Barstool. I'm a big fan of what Dave has created, Dave Portnoy, and Barstool has kind of changed the game for the sports world, and they've kind of just just destroyed ESPN in a lot of ways.
Yeah, they're cooler.
Yeah, they're absolutely. And so that's what my goal is, to make Geeks and Gamers kind of that to the geek world, and
Are you
everything.
hooking up with a lot of underage girls? No, I'm just kidding. They were of age.
Leave Dave alone. Leave El
Dave did
Presidente
nothing
alone.
wrong. I think they were 18, 19. I just like make fun of
Well,
that.
well, no, they just basically, it was a hit piece. Like, I mean,
yeah.
Dave is Dave. I mean, look, Dave lives by the gun, dies by the gun. He just pulls it out there. He does not hide anything. He's a straight shooter, and I love that. But yeah, I mean, Business Insider, fuck them. They really did do a number on him, but they're gonna regret it in the long run.
I hope so.
But yeah, but what the Daily Wire's doing, Barstool, and my goal to get Geeks and Gamers to that point and kind of change the game. And like right now, the sites that have the access are the ones that get out in front of things, like, oh, we're going to get this review out before you because they have the access. And that's always going to be something that's going to have to be battled against. But at the end of the day, if you're giving genuine, honest feedback on stuff, I think that's going to carry more weight than getting it first, is being honest about it. And honesty means you're going to upset people all the time, and you just gotta roll with it. And so that's what we're planning. That's what we plan to do. We'll be in Orlando sometime next year. We're expanding down to Orlando. I've got several people that have contacted me about, we're looking for a studio, looking for an area to kind of get set up in. So that's the goal for the next year, is to get set up in Orlando. Ryan's already down there. Jay's already down there. We'll get, the ladies, a few of the ladies that express they want to, move to that area, and we'll be in studio and kicking ass and taking names. So we're looking forward to it.
So is there a home base now for Geeks and Gamers?
I mean, we're so spread out now. I mean, obviously I'm in Pensacola, Florida. And so if anything would be the home base, it would be Pensacola, but we're just all mobile. We're all over the place. We have people all over the country, all over the world in some aspects. And so, so there's really no set place, but Orlando's always been my goal to get to, because Orlando, there's just so much there. I mean, obviously we do have a theme park channel. It's the theme park capital of the world, but also the sports element. So you've got Orlando's the central hub, but you've got Miami a few hours away. You've got Tampa just about an hour away. You've got Jacksonville just a few hours away. You've got Daytona International Speedway. You have mega conventions that are happening all in Florida. True. And so Orlando's just a central hub. And I mean, Orlando is the most visited city in the United States. I mean, it just is. Like it surpassed New York City a few years ago as the most visited city in the United States. Now, that was before the pandemic, so I don't know how that's been affected, but I can only imagine with Ron DeSantis, it's only gotten better since the pandemic. Has kind of so that's kind of the goal, and it's always been the goal, is to be in Orlando, just because of the central hub that it offers for all the things we cover. Plus, we're gonna open up we're behind the 8 ball a little bit, but like, we're going to create an outdoor channel. So for fishing and hunting, and that will be based out of Tampa, because the person that's going to be running it is in Tampa. So like deep sea fishing.
Geeks and Gamers, like big game, like game hunting.
Mm-hmm.
For real?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, deep sea fishing, hunting, all of that. So that's the next chapter. So once we get set in Orlando, that'll be the thing. And then there's a lot more that I can't talk about that is in the works that's going to take things to the next level. And so if you're jealous or upset about what Geeks and Gamers is doing now, just sit tight, because you're going to be crying your little bitch ass eyes out when you see what we're doing, when you see what we got planned. It
sounds like most of the people who are haters of you are jealous. And I find that's very much true in comedy as well.
Yeah, it is 100% in. I mean, at the end of the day, what this whole YouTube thing, to me, it's there's a lot of jealousy on YouTube, and there's a lot of jealousy when you do something that someone else wants to do or whatever. And I don't really understand that. I mean, YouTube's big enough for all of us. That's what I've said.
Yeah,
we should all be on the same page, because we're all fighting against the machine that is YouTube, and not each other. I think
it's
if you
a
have
tool, it's like, it shouldn't be anybody's end all be all.
Yes, I think no matter what your opinions are, or whatever you are saying, in terms of, as long as it's not illegal, like, do what you want, say what you want, have whatever opinions you want. And if you can create an audience doing that, more power to you. But when you start trying to destroy, when you use your platform to try to destroy other creators, and that's kind of one thing, like when my channel was taking off, around 17,000 subs, 18,000 subs.
Wow.
I got caught in the crosshairs of a YouTube channel named Star Wars Explained. Now, Star Wars Explained and his sister or wife, whatever he wants to call her, they run that channel together. And
Wait, a sister and a wife? This is an Oklahoma situation here. What?
So Star Wars Explained, a channel with like 500,000 subscribers, trashes me, like just trashes me because I basically had an
Is it
opinion.
that guy that looks like a thumb, sort of?
That's a lot of those, but a little bit, a little bit.
Okay,
But
he's dark hair.
he featured me in a
I'm
video,
thinking
and I'd
Star Wars
never.
Theory. Never mind. Okay.
No, yeah, Theory's good. Now, Theory's my friend. I love Theory.
Okay.
So,
I take back
but
the thumb comment.
but
Okay.
Theory was in this video too. So he basically was using me, a small channel, to go after the big fish Star Wars Theory. And I'm like, what the? I'm just getting traction on YouTube. Now I'm in the middle of this big fight between these big YouTubers, and ultimately I tried to confront. So the thing about me is I'll confront you in real life. I do it like, so when I go to Star Wars conventions, any of these Star Wars YouTubers that shit on me, I'll go try to find them
Ooh.
and shake their hand and confront them and go, hey, how you doing?
Oh,
And I've done
nobody
that.
expects that
So,
either.
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's
And
so
so
easy to talk shit online.
yeah, and I've done that. I did that to several people at Star Wars Celebration in Chicago.
How do you
know,
find
there's
these people? Do they have like a booth or something, or you just run into them and then you confront?
just run into him. I mean, like one guy that, and I'm not gonna say his name because he's such a pathetic loser, but I saw him in line to eat, like he was standing in line to get food, and I was gonna confront him, but I'm like, okay, that's probably, that probably would come off the wrong way. I would probably lose the optics
You don't want
game
to
on
give him
this.
indigestion.
Yeah. I went up to one guy named Brian Young, who's Brian Young. Like, if there's any guys out there, if you're a little out of shape, maybe if your wife left you, maybe you're not feeling good about yourself, pull up a picture of Brian Young and you will immediately feel better about yourself. Trust me on that. But so Brian Young is a writer for, I don't know if he still writes for StarWars.com or not. But he is a shill. He is a definition of a shill. And I would not put this guy around young children unsupervised at all. But Brian Young years ago wrote an article and he tried to blame me for Solo losing money, the Star Wars movie. And he blamed me for the boycott, even though I never called for a boycott of it. So he lied. So I responded to this video and I showed multiple clips where I said, I'm not calling for a boycott. I'm saying I'm not going to see it. If you're unhappy that I'm not going to see this movie, I would encourage you to buy 2 tickets and offset the fact that I'm not buying one, because I very much support anybody doing whatever they want with their money. So he wrote a lie and claimed that I was responsible for the Solo boycott. So I walked up to him at Star Wars Celebration, shook his hand. He was drinking a soy latte. No bullshit.
No.
And he was drinking a latte. And, I put it on Twitter, but my old Twitter account has been deleted. They took me down.
I saw that. You were suspended in 2020.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it got suspended. So I put a video of me confronting him, put it on Twitter, and I went to the whole point of the story is I tried to confront Star Wars Explained, and he ran from me. He literally ran from me at Star Wars Celebration. Now, he had no problem trying to destroy my channel, but he couldn't talk to me in person like a man. Wrong. And so the whole thing is YouTube jealousy. I think it's pathetic, and I think the platform's big enough for everybody. And if you don't like someone, that's cool. You don't have to like everyone, but trying to take their channels down or whatever, I think it's just a pathetic sign of jealousy.
True. And like people, and I find the people that are the nastiest to me, that talk the most shit, are people that I worked with years ago, that I gave spots to, that I was very friendly to. It's like, it's never a perfect stranger. It's always somebody like, again, I took an improv class, or I used to be, and I don't know. And I'm surprised sometimes because it's people who are also doing well, who have decent credits, who are like a Netflix darling or whatever. And I'm always surprised to see the hate. Like, I think what's that guy, that gay guy on SNL, Bowen Yang, like one time he tweeted, and I saved it and I had it as the background on my Twitter for a while. It said like, nobody in New York comedy respects Chrissie Mayr. And it was like, and I'm just like, I didn't even know you were thinking about me, I had no idea that like I was, you know what I mean? Like,
that's good though.
I'm flattered. I thought it would just be like just thinking about dicks all day. And then, I think this was after I did my Kung Flu Fighting parody video thing last March. So I'm like, wow, shouldn't you be better than that? I don't know. It's weird. You never know whose radar you're on and who's thinking about you.
Well, this kind of goes into that, and I pull it up right here. This is originally from a Reddit post. I think was the source
Oh,
of
Reddit.
this, but right here, I'm sharing my screen. If I've learned anything from video games, it is that when you meet enemies, it means you're going in the right direction, and that's it right there.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
and that's it. Like it does. It means you are going in the right direction. And I think that's a really cool thing that has really, I've seen that years and years and years ago. So I don't know where the true source of it was, but I believe that Reddit post right there is one of the original sources. But yeah, it really is, man. It really does kind of, if you simplify that down to life, that's truly it. Because going back to when I didn't have a following, no one was complaining about me. Nobody was calling me a bigot or a racist or a sexist because I didn't have a following and nobody gave a damn about anything I was saying. Then once I became where people knew my name, suddenly I became a topic of discussion. And I'm like, I'm making more money now. I have more followers now and I have more haters now. Going in the right direction.
Oh, suddenly it comes out that your character is horrible. It's been horrible this whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
Just being
Exactly.
unveiled now.
Yep.
Yeah, in my own gaming experience of watching and playing Untitled Goose Game, I can agree that you're going in the right direction if you meet enemies. Have you played Untitled Goose Game?
No.
What?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
He goes up, he steals the glasses out of the
I have
back
not.
pocket of a farmer. All right.
Chad's saying that's originally quoted by Winston Churchill. I didn't know that.
Oh.
So there's like a spin on his. Okay, cool. Respect that.
Respect.
Respect.
Crash Mondo. Grifting may not be easy, but simping is. Simping is easy.
That's right. That's right.
From Mars. This is a great stream tonight. The drinker celebration tomorrow. And of course, FNT. This week is going to be great. P.S. What does Jeremy think of Bad Puppy?
What is Bad Puppy?
What is Bad Puppy?
Don't know. I'm probably going to be on Drinker stream tomorrow too, by the way. So
ooh.
Shout out to Critical Drinker, 1 million subs. That is awesome.
Holy shit! Did he just hit that?
He just hit that like 2 days ago. So
wow.
So his celebration stream will be tomorrow, and I don't know what time I'll be on, but I definitely will make an appearance. So we got a Critical Drinker.
Congrats to him. We got a Jeremy facial hair hater in the chat. Who glued pubes onto Jeremy's face?
Back to before we get to that one. So it must be Naughty Dog. Bad Puppy, Naughty Dog. So fuck Naughty Dog. I'm sorry, guys. Bad Puppy is Naughty Dog. So Naughty Dog is a video game developer. And they are partly responsible for me having a successful channel because back when The Last of Us 2 came out, which was a highly, it was a sequel to a highly successful and beloved video game, The Last of Us, the first one. Last of Us Part 2 came out, and they basically abandoned everything that made the first one great, and they made this chick. They put this chick in the game that was super muscular, super big muscular chick, and she killed the beloved main male character in the game, and then they made you play as her. So that all that information leaked before the game came out. And when that information leaked, that was a very bad PR disaster for them. So people like me and Ryan and many others, as from Hill versus Babyface and others, we all covered the leaks and we talked about everything. And it was the internet collectively hated the information that was being received. So Naughty Dog started striking channels that were not even showing anything, just talking about it. Just talking about it. They were sending copyright strike takedowns. And at one point in time, Ryan Kinel's channel had 2 active copyright strikes from Naughty Dog. Geeks and Gamers had one. Gaming with Geeks had one. And many other channels had multiple strikes. And it was bad. They were striking everyone down. And to Ryan's credit, Ryan's like, I am not stopping. He just kept making videos. Because 3rd strike means your channel's gone.
Oh,
absolutely gone.
Right. And so, people get very tentative when they start getting strikes.
Yeah. And Ryan just continued to just make videos. He's like, look, if they're going to take me down, I'm going to go down, go down a blaze of glory. Yeah. And so, yeah. And, we all challenged it. Ultimately, we all won. But this was like a month and a half of the process where we didn't know if our channel was going to make it through this because they false flagged our channels. And it was a disaster, but we made so much money. We got so many views off this. It was crazy, man. Nice. And Last of Us Part 2 was but yeah, fuck Naughty Dog. Fuck Neil Druckmann, who is the one of the lead people at Naughty Dog, and they're a terrible company ran by terrible people.
Wow. We're getting so much inside scoop. All right, back to pubes.
Yeah. So I got a little bit. Everybody wants me to grow a beard. I'm like, I can't really. I mean, I've never really tried. So
You're Nordic. I think are you
yeah,
Scandinavian or Irish?
I don't know what I am.
You don't
I
know what
really
you
don't.
are?
No, I asked one time. My dad doesn't even know his line, his of history of
Wow.
yeah. So I don't know. I'm black from the waist down, but anything else. So
Okay.
yeah.
You're gonna get a lot more ladies wanting to work for you now.
That's where the above average joke comes from. So I'm above
Oh my!
average. So
How
yeah.
do guys find that out? I guess you start hooking up, and then you start if you
Well,
start hearing a lot of girls say like you're
so I
decently
mean,
sized.
yeah. So I used to do a lot of solo live streams on my channel, and I don't really do those as much anymore. I probably should. I mean, I get a lot of viewers, make a lot of money, but I have a lot going on too. But I used to do a lot of solo live streams, and when I get rolling, just talk so much shit, you know. And if somebody comes in the chat and they say something, I'll just roast the living hell out of them. And so I had this thing. I don't know, like one guy would, come in the chat and think of something I would say, like, okay, like some guy would come in and talk bad about me. I'm like, hey, it's like the next time you kiss your mom and you taste a little something funny, just remember she had some above average Jeremy juice in the mouth last night. So you're tasting a little bit of Jeremy. And it's just stuff
Wow.
like that. So, and I'll be like, look, it's above average. I'm not saying I'm a black dude, but it is above average, Ask your mom, she could confirm it.
Like a small black guy.
Yeah,
Smaller.
it's just above average. I'm not saying I'm anything I'm not. And so it just became this thing where it just became part of my persona. And it is not a lie. I'm not like a black dude, but I'm above average, and I'm okay with that. I'm
And
proud of
how
it.
it must be,
So.
I think, even worse to be a black guy and then, you're expected to have this huge dong and then you don't. I'm gonna have to ask Eric July about that.
That's a good one.
My one
That's a
black
good
friend. No, I have other black friends. From Man of War, will the first fishing hole filming location be Sodomy Creek by any chance? Is that a real creek?
I'm looking forward to it. Look, I know I have a lot of pressure on me to get this fishing trip done, and so it will happen in the next year. That it will happen in 2022. Okay, it will happen in 2022,
It will
and I
happen
promise.
before the next pandemic.
And I promise, Drunk 3PO will be shirtless in it. So that's gonna bring a lot of views.
Wow.
So yeah.
Maybe I could do like a girls trip and it'd be like fishing for compliments and we just stay on land. From Ruben, Christopher Haynes. So proud of you both. I see how hard you both work. So my question, mainly for those creators just starting out, scared of failure, what is your greatest mistake that made you make a change in your life for the better? Ooh, okay, for me, and it wasn't even a conscious mistake so much as just straight up stepping in it through living life. I dated a stand-up comedian who the summer before, like I started dating him in the fall, the summer before he had been like the owner of this comedy club because he was getting over another breakup with another stand-up comic like that prior spring, right? So, and I didn't find out, he was hooking up with this comedy club owner till we were like really involved, like a couple months in. And the way he had phrased it was like, oh, we were done. Like she was literally just sucking my dick while I was recovering from this breakup. You know what I mean? Like we weren't a thing. It was just, I was letting her. I was like, wow, that should have been the first red flag, like, I mean, how nice of you to let somebody just suck your dick. So we started dating. And then anyway, I went to said comedy club for one of his shows. This comedy club owner found out that we were an item. She flipped the fuck out. She was throwing bottles of alcohol. She effectively banned me from the club. And then I was kind of banned from this other produced show that she had done. And this was in 2012. It is now 2021. And this woman still hates my guts. Like, I know that I have been kept out of certain festivals, out of certain, you know what I mean? Sphere of influence, and that includes Jimmy Fallon, Just for Laughs Festival, who knows, Comedy Central probably. So just through living life and just pissing people off via existing, you can make mistakes, but
Yeah.
now I just know better. And I think that those failures were very good for me because it's all kind of helped push me to this non-mainstream sort of like whatever the hell I'm doing now,
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, for me, like, I mean, it just, I don't, I don't really, I mean, and I know I used the term here and there, but when it comes down to asking, I don't really believe in mistakes. I believe that if
What are
you
you, Bob
make it,
Ross?
well, I believe that if you learn from it, then it's not a mistake. It's a learning opportunity. If you keep making the same thing over and over again, then it's obviously a mistake. So the things I've done and everything I have made mistakes per se, but I think I've learned from those mistakes. So it's like, even going back to before I was willing to speak out against, a lot of the stuff going on, I had a ton of people on my team that were left wing. They would write left wing stuff on the site, which I totally was fine with. And the moment that I spoke out about, like, they knew privately I was a Trump supporter, but the moment that I publicly said it, they all quit. And they all basically were like,
Wow.
he's so toxic. He's a horrible person. And it's like, motherfucker, you got my number. I've sent you money. Like, what are you talking
I sent
about?
you
We've
dick
hung out,
pics. Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it's more so just, you like, even the Snyder thing we talked about earlier. I don't view that as a mistake by any stretch of the imagination. I just view that as took a risk, because you can't be scared to take risks in life. You cannot. If you are scared of backlash or criticism, you're not gonna fucking make it. You're just not. You're gonna have to take risks. Those risks are gonna make you make mistakes. You're gonna do things you're like, fuck, that was the wrong thing to do. But ultimately, if you learn from that and you build upon that, then it's not a mistake, it's a learning opportunity. And so I'm very happy of where I'm at this point in time. And then the fact of that, my mistakes, I feel I've learned from most of them. But there was a process to get to where this was at. And trust me, at the time of the path to get to where I'm at, I thought about giving up a lot. When I'm working dead end jobs and I was in my, early 30s or whatever, and I didn't have anything to say, like, oh, what's your career? I'm working a fucking dead end retail job. But, well, why? I'm like, well, I'm trying to build Geeks and Gamers. People are like, what? You're doing what? You're playing video games?
Get
What kind of
back to
fucking loser are
folding.
you? Yeah. So, I mean, I thought about giving up a lot, just because it was so hard to kind of, when are we going to make it to the next level? And I still feel that pressure to this day, because right now with this whole Orlando thing that we're doing, I feel enormous pressure to make the right decisions, to put us in the best position to succeed, because not only is it going to be for my future, but the people on my team are relying on me to make the right decisions to ensure their future as well. So I feel like the weight of the world's on my shoulders, but ultimately I'm going to have to do what I feel is best. And there's probably going to be more mistakes along the way. Learn from it and don't give a fuck what nobody says. That's what I
Yeah.
say.
And you're like, I get the feeling you're like a big picture thinker. Like, don't be afraid to like think big and take those big steps, and like
Yep.
writing down or thinking about like, man, what would be huge? What would be awesome? Like we reached out for me to interview Jordan Peterson this year. Like, he said no, but he answered the email and wrote back like, hello,
Yeah.
I'm worth a
That's a step.
response.
That's
That's a
a
big
step in the
deal.
right direction.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
So, and just, I'll get you, Jordan.
But
I'll just
but
keep making my bed and biding my time.
Ruben is an awesome guy, though. Ruben's
Oh,
great. Met
yeah.
him in Vegas. Ruben is an awesome, awesome dude. Big supporter of FNT, Geeks and Gamers, Nerdrotic, all of us.
Oh, good guy. This is speaking of good comments. No, Russell Hall. Men take communal showers at the gym where we snap towels, sing show tunes in chorus, and compare penis sizes.
Penis
Penis
sizes.
sizes. That's where we learn who has a big one. Okay, sounds like you all were swimmers and divers, because that's what we did too. Snapping towels at each other. Okay, this I'm gonna address because this is in the works from Gabriel Knight. Chrissy, tell Anthony Cumia to be a guest on Friday Night Tights. It would be epic. I have mentioned it to him. He is somebody that needs to be like reminded quite a bit, and we are heading down to Dallas next week to do some shows at Hyenas and a couple appearances at the Blaze. So after we get back from that, I'm really gonna pester him hardcore on it. But when I mentioned it to him, he seemed down, and I gave it my highest of praise. So I think he listens to me.
Hell yeah.
I'll make it happen. Okay,
We got
cool.
Zuby on this week, so that's gonna be awesome.
Oh, Zuby. Oh my God, I love him.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. So
Okay, I have a question about Mike Zero, because it seems like his whole channel is lies. Is that an artistic decision?
So it's funny because so when my channel, I built my channel primarily in the early stages off of Star Wars, off of calling Disney Star Wars out, and I've never really been a person that watched a lot of Star Wars YouTube. I mean, I'd watched channels here and there, but I wasn't plugged into it. And so as my channel's taking off, I remember there was a video from Mike Zero, and all I saw, like, you know, anyone else, you see a channel, you're like, oh, they have like a lot of subs. Okay, they're, you know, they have a following, people watch them. And so I referenced Mike Zero in my video. I'm like, Mike Zero, also covering this, obviously a respected Star Wars channel. Holy fuck, my comment section. Like, Mike Zero is not respected, Jeremy.
Oh no.
So yeah, Mike, like, I have nothing against Mike Zero. I don't know him. I've never spoken with him, but he's a fascinating person because he definitely has, you know, like Teflon skin. Like, he just doesn't care. He's just going to make the same fucking video. He's going to make the most clickbaity titles. He doesn't care, and I respect it. Like, I totally do. And I don't believe most of the shit he says, but it doesn't matter. It's entertaining as hell. I view him as a wrestler, professional wrestling.
Okay.
He's just working the gimmick at this point. You know, it pays the bills. It drives the algorithm. Go for it. Because one thing that YouTube does not reward is diversity of content. It absolutely does not.
Oh, okay.
YouTube does not. There's a reason I have 9 YouTube channels. It's because YouTube does not reward diversity of content. It just doesn't. Geeks and Gamers,
Wow.
300,000 subscribers. I can make a video bitching about Brie Larson or Kathleen Kennedy and get me 100,000 views. If I go, hey, here's my top 10 favorite Super Nintendo games, no fucking body's going to watch it because YouTube's not going to push it. It's just how it is. Yeah. It's just like with the Sports Wars channel. Sports Wars is over 100,000 subscribers now. If I talked about sports on Geeks and Gamers, I would get lynched by my freaking community. They're just like, fuck you, don't talk about sports. We hate sports. And YouTube's not going to push it, you know, out there to anyone that it would matter to. It's a weird algorithm thing. So, I mean, right now, it's why we created so many. So I don't know why necessarily. I just know you have to feed the beast. You know what I mean? You just have to feed the beast.
Give the people what they want and what they expect.
Yep, absolutely. So
interesting. Okay. Yeah, that sometimes happens in comedy too. Like, there's a guy, he's just like, his whole channel is he just sort of makes up exaggerations. Like, he picks comics that he doesn't like. He's like a comedy sort of commentator, and then you look into his background, you're like, okay, he kind of like failed at owning a comedy club. He used to have a show on Compound Media. He kind of got booted off of that, and he like just shits on a lot of seemingly like very just successful comics. Or he'll take rumors and exaggerate them. He'll take jokes that he hears and exaggerate them and say that this is a true story. And he's very entertaining. And again, very much like a wrestler. So I think it's just, yeah, there's room for everybody on the old internet.
There is. I mean, Mike Zero's done his thing. And yeah, I don't believe 90% of what he posts. And he never sources anything he says generally. Just makes a video. Never sources anything. You're like, where did you come up with this? It's fascinating, though. It's like a train wreck. You got to watch it. Like, how does he keep making 8 videos on the same exact topic and people still watch, you know? So go for it, man.
And did you mention this before, how you came to be on Friday Night Tights? It seems like you guys all kind of got started at maybe around the same time.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've known Gary for a long time, and that's my bro. He's one of my closest friends, you know, in life in general. I love Gary to death. And so, you know, Gary, Gary filled in for, I was on a show years ago, the High Council, no longer there, but that was kind of a show we did that was kind of the early stages of our kind of collaboration shows in this whole little corner of the internet we have. And Gary filled in for me one week when I was not able to make it. And I didn't know Gary. So I tuned in. I'm like, Nerdrotic, who is this guy? I think he had like 40,000 subscribers. And I heard him, and then I watched a few of his videos. I'm like, this guy is a freaking star. Like, he is so good. And I knew that the moment. So he knew who I was. So yeah, he knew who I was. And so I just met. It's like, hey man, I love your channel. I'd love to talk to you sometime. And I just watched his stuff. And even you go back to like when Gary had like 40,000 subs, 50,000, he always commanded a massive live stream crowd. He's just he's good at what he does. And he takes like a sports talk radio perspective to his live streams. He just talks about things. He's got a great voice. He's got great knowledge. And so I've always paid attention from that perspective. We hung out, you know, at a couple of different conventions, and we just became really good friends. And so, yeah, Gary often, in the early days of his channel, he gave me a lot of credit for helping inspire him, which is an honor to hear, because Gary, I think, is going to be like the Joe Rogan of the geek world at some point. Like, Gary's a rock star. And so he was trying to do something on Fridays, and Odin, who's part of my Geeks and Gamers team, pitched the idea to Gary. He's like, why don't we make it like a Geeks and Gamers thing? Like, and we can bring different Geeks and Gamers people on. And Gary liked the idea. And so I was not planning on being, I went through a phase where I just didn't want to do live streams because I was too focused on other things going on, too many channels, too many things to manage, too many personalities. And so when I get on a live stream for 3 or 4 hours, it's like, I don't have, I'm
It can be
like,
exhausting.
I'll look at all these notifications when I'm done, and I'm going to have a mountain of stuff. So like, typically I just don't like to do live streams. And I went through a phase where I didn't do any for a couple of years. So I was like, well, I'll guest on a couple of these Friday shows. And then it just kind of, I never left. It kind of kept building up, and it got bigger and bigger. We brought more guests on, we brought panelists on, and now it's turned into the biggest thing that any of us have in terms of a weekly show. And it's something special. It really has.
It is. It's got like a magic quality to it.
It really does. And so it's really cool, man, to be part of it. So it just was a little idea that Odin threw out there. He talked to me about it. I'm like, I love that idea. Yeah, we can bring some people in. And so I just came on for a few weeks just as to be part of it, but I just never left. And it just kept on. And, me and Gary, we're always going to be linked in everything we do. And it's an honor to call him my friend, and I'm loving everything we got going on. So that's how FNT came to be.
I'm thinking that there's a friend tattoo in the works.
Like, I have no tattoos. So.
Me either. I don't have any. I just never had any money.
I have no tattoos. I have considered it, and I still will consider it. I mean, one thing that, and it's weird because I'm rewatching the show right now, so I can't really shut up about talking about it in my circles. But like, even when I first watched it, it kind of helped a lot of my ideas for Geeks and Gamers in terms of the brotherhood of sorts we created. But Sons of Anarchy is probably my all-time favorite show. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
I've heard of it.
It's a fucking awesome show that probably would get canceled the moment that they spoke today. But Sons of Anarchy, and they have like, if you look at my D-Day Cobra logo, I don't have it, but like the skull and everything, I kind of took a little bit of inspiration from Stone Cold Steve Austin and Sons of Anarchy's Reaper. And I love what they have going on. So I've looked at some of their tattoos that they have on the show, and I'm like, I'd like that tattoo. So I have considered a tattoo, but at this point, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, and I don't have any tattoos. I'm just an asshole. Like, that's really what it comes down.
That's your only vice.
Yeah, I'm just an asshole.
It is. So, yeah. I have an ex-boyfriend that you kind of look like. His name was Raphael. He had a big back piece. He had like a tribal sort of, but then he broke up with me over Skype. So then it wasn't so cool anymore.
Damn.
It's fine. I'm over it.
That's savage.
Yeah, I've thought about, like, when my mom died, I almost got like a hibiscus tattoo, like right here. But then she hated tattoos. She never wanted me to have a tattoo. She hated when I got like the top of my ear pierced in college. So I hear her voice saying, like, don't get a tattoo from me, girl. I don't know. So we'll see. If I do,
yeah,
I
have thought about getting. Yeah, I thought about getting the D-Day Cobra skull logo tattooed on me at some point. So I might do it at some point. I'm not against them.
A Geeks and Gamers tramp stamp. Like, I think just do the logo on your lower back. No?
So there's 2 people that have Geeks and Gamers tattoos. Ruthie is one of them, our big supporter who runs our fan page, and Krista Nova. Krista Nova has a Geeks and Gamers tattoo.
Oh, tramp stamps?
No, it's not a tramp stamp. Let me see if I can find her. Let's see. Krista Nova. Let me pull up her Instagram. Let me see if I can find this really quick. She got it in Vegas when we did the Vegas thing.
Wow, so, that like just happened.
Yeah, so she just did get it. Let me see if I can.
I'm gonna get it. Yeah, maybe I will get a Friday Night Tights tat. Friday Night Tats. Friday Night Tats.
Let's see. Okay, I found it. So right here. If I don't know how to work Instagram from.
Same.
There we go. All right. So share my screen. Krista, boom. So there's the ladies. All right. So that's Xray girl. That's Krista, and that's Tugs. And if you scroll to the next one, so that's Krista at the tattoo place. And then you go to the next one.
You have all these cute girls working for you.
Right here. I'm sorry. There we go. So there's the tattoo on her hip.
Oh my God, that's it. It's in red. Yeah. Wow.
Now, she got it in pink, actually. So she got the pink logo. So yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So
that's cute. And
Yeah,
you know what?
Jay.
If you look at that, it almost looks like ringworm, and then you have to look closely. No,
Yeah, I mean,
it's cute.
she, I really like. She's great, and all
Aw,
the
it's
late,
cute.
all the ladies at Geeks and Gamers are great. And when she came to me with that idea, just like what I told Ruthie when the Ruthie got hers, I said, "Look, you do not have to get a Geeks and Gamers tattoo," and
But it doesn't
but.
hurt.
I mean, obviously, it's incredibly humbling for that to happen, but don't feel like you need to for me or to anything. But they wanted it, like Krista's like, I really want to do this. And I was like, okay. And then when she did it, I said, hey, I probably should have told you this the other day. I'm actually going to alter the Geeks Gamers logo now. She goes, what? I'm like, no, I'm kidding. I'm not changing
Ah,
it. So
that's
yeah, it's
funny.
good stuff. Good stuff. But no, I'm not going to get a tramp stamp Geeks and Gamers logo. Maybe if we hit 10 million subs, maybe then I'll do it.
Ooh,
So
how many subs do you have now?
300 on the main Geeks and Gamers channel. So we have
Not too
300.
shabby.
I'd say overall, we're closing on 600,000 collectively. So Geeks and Gamers main channel. And I guess it depends on how you really want to look at that, because we have like so many people connected. But if you just count the Geeks and Gamers channel, my personal channel, which is closing in on 100,000 subscribers, Sports Wars, which is like 112. You got a Park Hop and you got Geeks and Gamers. We're probably at like 600,000. But then you got people
Wow.
like Ryan's channel, which is basically a Geeks and Gamers channel. You got Drunk 3POs, all these. So yeah, I guess we're probably closing in close to 100,000, or I mean, 1 million when you collectively put it
Wow.
all together. And that's the thing, is like a lot of people, because the rise of Geeks and Gamers was all off that main channel. And so I have taken my foot off the gas pedal on that channel a lot, because we've built other channels. And so a lot of people look at it, go, oh, the channel's not growing as fast. Geeks and Gamers is in trouble. It's like, I am never putting all my eggs in one basket ever. So that channel's
Yeah.
been great, and it makes me a lot of money, and it's been phenomenal, and it's opened a lot of doors for me. But we do the Twitch thing. We have memberships on our website now. I have an editorial team on my website. We have writers. I have an editor in chief. We have social media team, everything. So it's like, there is a lot of moving parts and a lot of different revenue streams that we have. And I would advise anybody, as you grow, to create different platforms and create different revenue streams. Don't put it all into YouTube. Use that
Yes.
YouTube to kind of build that foundation, but move on to other things.
Yeah, that is really good advice. Oh, from In Hot Water. What's up, In Hot Water? Can you tell Christy about how The Expanse went woke?
I can't, because I have not watched The Expanse. Now, I know Gary's a big fan of The Expanse, and he has been preaching about it for a long time. So I am not the person that could actually do that, but Gary is the person that probably could. And I did not even know it went woke. Last I'd heard, Gary was so big on that show. So if it went woke, Gary will probably be ranting about it.
The
So I can't
Expanse
speak on this.
sounds like maybe when my mom would borrow my clothes and then give them back and they're stretched out. That's what I feel like The Expanse reminds me of. Oh my god, this was so fun, Germs. This
Yeah.
the time flew by. So much so that I forgot to shout out the sponsor, Cushy Dreams. Guys, I don't know if you struggle with anxiety like I have for the last couple of years, but Cushy Dreams is my go-to for all things CBD related. You can enjoy all the health benefits of CBD without getting high. Cushy Dreams specializes in high quality CBD in tins and pre-rolls here. I like the pre-rolls because they're very portable, and there's different indica sativa blends. If you want to be a little bit more alert, a little more energetic, go for an energy or a hustle blend. Or if you want to relax before bed, maybe do like a peace or a dream blend. Join the men and women who are sick of vapes and gummies and want to smoke their CBD. Go to cushydreams.com, KUSHY dreams.com. And at the checkout, use promo code CMP to get 20% off. Delivers to all 50 states. They do lab testing to ensure compliance and purity. Check out Cushy Dreams and smoke some CBD.
Well
This
said.
this is
Well
great,
said.
Jeremy. It was so
Yeah.
great to finally do this, and I guess I'll see you Friday.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a pleasure getting to know you. You've been great. Just getting to know you, having you part of Friday Night Tights, and you've connected us with people, which has been really cool on your part. And you're part of the crew now, so you can't get
Aw.
away from
Oh,
us.
good.
But it has.
Ew.
It's been really
I
cool
can't
getting
get
to know you.
away.
Yeah. And I love what you're doing, with the comedy thing. You're in a world right now that I think we need more of right now. We need people that are willing to tell those jokes and not worry about the public backlash. And you're dealing with that. You've even said some jokes on FNT where you're like, holy fuck she said that? What? You know,
Oh
and
no. Yeah, I never want to
when
get you guys in trouble.
whenever you're making Ryan have to go, fuck, I got to get edgier. Like, you know, you're doing
Oh,
something good. So
he's pretty darn edgy for sure. Yeah, the feeling is so mutual. I was so honored to be brought on as a full-time member. Like, I was just so happy to do it whenever, and I love you guys, and I just feel like we're all part of the same fight, and it makes me feel like good and not so alone when I see similarities in like the gaming and sort of like, movie world and comedy, and I'm just like, oh
yeah.
wow, we're all doing the same thing. And
Well, that's
yeah.
that's kind of like with the whole sports angle. Like, I think there's so much carryover into all of this stuff. Now, obviously, there's some people just don't watch, like people that play video games or read comics probably don't watch sports or whatever. But I think there's a ton of carryover in all of those worlds, and that's why I've been trying to blend all of that stuff together in certain aspects of it. And the comedy world is the same thing. I mean, if people that like to laugh like to play video games, people that like to play video games like to, watch sports. People that like to watch sports like to watch movies. I think there's a ton of carryover into all of this, and that's what we got to work on, just kind of sticking together, because the machine, the beast, the powers that be, they all fucking hate us.
Yeah, and people miss the times where they could watch sports and there was no message being pushed, and people could laugh and not worry, oh my God, are people gonna think I'm a racist or about to put a white hood on because I laughed at a joke. And it's just, you don't
Yep.
have control over what you laugh at, and people like to sort of watch a game and not have to think about the world. And all of this crap has been pushed into all the areas that we love, and it's just nice to be with be with people. I mean, it's like I haven't even met most of you guys, but it's nice to talk to people who feel the same way. It's like you really do feel less alone.
Well,
So,
one thing, my biggest thing that I'm going to try to accomplish before we wrap it up is I'm going to once we get set in Orlando, I'm going to invite Chrissie down. We're going to give her the whole tour, and then Drunk 3PO is taking her to a theme park. Boom!
oh no,
Boom!
I'll have to get
Boom!
my leash out from my youth. My parents had me on a leash.
I'll just have Drunk pull the hat out. He'll charm you. You'll be like, I'll go anywhere with you, Drunk
The
3PO. You're so
backpack or something. At least the leashes that kids have now are dignified. They look like backpacks. Not back in the day, I had like a straight up harness. I don't know.
Oh, that'd be good. That'd be good. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure to be here, Chrissie.
This is great, Jeremy. Thank you, chat, for your super chats and your good questions and comments as always. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye, everyone.